Go.
Welcome back to beautiful Aloha, Hawaii. And we're going to talk about something that the Hawaiians know a lot about. The third aspect of the quantum world teaching is that everything in our life is a surprise as a miracle. We call that word emergent. Emergent means it's a surprise. We didn't know it was happening. But what we do is bring together, like these people. This is an emergent miracle right now that Mike called last night. That we've had dreams that were great descriptions of what we're talking about. And so emergent is something we want to have more of in our life. We don't control it so much. In fact, in the quantum world, there's no cause and effect. Because when these electrons are doing what the other one's doing, you don't know who did it first. In fact, that question becomes almost irrelevant. They're both doing it. That's why I like dancing, because you're both dancing. Who did it first? You can't really say. In the tango, you don't know who did it first, but you're there and you're moving with the other. So there's one thing we do in our life, conversation, which is very emergent, because you have two entities there speaking, and you don't really know what the other is saying. And if you speak in this quantum way, what happens is your communication becomes miraculous. You become so creative. So we're going to try it right now. I'm going to describe it to you. Here's the word emergent. When you are being your radiant self and your eternal self and your personal self are there, and you want to communicate, what you want to do is you want to make a statement like, okay, I'm going to make a statement about something, and maybe we'll ask somebody to make a statement about something they're wondering about or feeling, like you or Mike. Maybe you could make the statement. When someone makes a statement, then he will ask a question that comes from his statement, any question at all, as long as it isn't a yes or no question. So it has to be a question. Well, but what about that? Am I really like this? You know, something that gives me the opportunity then to respond to you. Well, if that's what you're saying, that you know, is this possible, then I'm going to make a statement in response to your question, but then I'm going to ask you another question. And that's quantum questioning. In the quantum world, there's no ending that destroys everything. There's always a new beginning. Particle disappears, new particle comes out. So even though it looks like the old particle ended, the new particle is there immediately. And that's what the quantum communication is. Statement, question, response, statement, question. Response, statement, question. And when you do it that way, you'd be surprised. The things you learn, the things that come out of it, things you never said before, you'll start saying. Things you never knew before, you start saying. And it's been the most creative way of speaking. So would you be willing to make a statement that you were making before? And then ask a question about that statement. Any question at all, and I will begin to engage in it. And then if anyone else is, you know, burning to respond, just, you know, kind of get my attention, and you can begin to use that same method. And let's try it, okay? Are you ready? Are you willing to make that statement?
Well, the statement I made was that it seems to that we have an obligation through each other to do our best, and to because of the interaction between us is so strong, and we're mirroring other people and or other energy, that our obligation is to maintain a sense of purpose and more in the action side of things rather than the reaction side of things.
So can you come up with a question now about that? A real question. You might question
No.
about that.
Not really.
I need you to.
I can come up with a
Can you?
question.
Okay.
So that's the ultimate way of being
So,
fully present. When reaction takes place,
just ask a question.
so
When a reaction
I-
takes place.
So it asks, then what? How do you
Okay.
get back to that?
But can you make a little statement a little more personal, like, what do I do?
Yeah, what do I, exactly,
Can you
what do
make
I
it more
do? How do
personal?
you shift that in that moment when you're caught in a reaction?
Okay.
When you've
So
been,
then, so let
feels
me-
like you've been shoved off the cliff and you're falling, like how do you stop falling in midair?
Okay. So when you're falling in midair, I'm gonna ask you a question. What are you feeling? What does that feel like in you? Where do you feel it in your body? Can you remember that feeling? And can you tell me how you feel that? Where you feel it? Or what you're literally feeling when you say, I'm falling. I've been pushed off a cliff. I'm falling. What's going on? Where are you feeling it?
My whole body.
And what does it feel like? Give me one of the four emotions.
Ah!
Oh, thank you. Very
Yes.
good. A scream.
Sounding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that scream, is that fear or anger? Your best guess. Muscle test it if you don't know. Fear?
Fear. I guess it
Anger.
would be
Anger. I muscle tested it for you. Can I test for Terri? Is she feeling fear? Is she feeling anger?
anger, yeah.
How many felt more anger than fear? I didn't feel I had fear there. That was
Mhm.
okay. So I'm going to ask you another question. So if this is really anger you're feeling, are you ready to embrace your anger? I'll make a statement. Do you mean embrace it right in that? Come on, just ask me.
Okay,
You're asking.
okay, so,
Response statement question.
so to stop the fall, it's about embracing whatever that,
Just
whatever
ask me
that
about that
emotion.
moment, right now, right
Okay.
now. Let's pretend that it happened. You're angry. Are you willing to embrace that anger right in that moment?
In the moment I didn't know that's what I needed to do, but now that I do know, yes.
Okay. Okay, that was a yes. Now that was not a quantum question. I'm going to take it back. Can you right now, are you willing right now to do a bath wave right in that moment, quickly, and talk about it? Gee, I'm noticing that I'm getting really angry. I feel like I'm falling off a cliff. Could you do that for me right
Yes.
now?
I'm noticing that I'm getting really angry and I feel like I'm falling off a cliff.
And I would like to get back on the cliff.
And I would like to stay
Fly?
Stay.
How about flying?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Okay, I would like to fly.
And I would like to fly.
You're falling. You can't go back up on the cliff, but you
Right.
can fly.
I can fly.
Okay, this is what you can do in a dream, by the way. This is taught to Sonoy Indian dream children, and they are taught to learn to fly instead of falling. Yeah, and it's a really useful tool in a dream. Okay, it's also useful just metaphorically right now. Do your back a little bit for me. Okay, so this is changing, but I'm trying to keep it a little bit quantum. However, unfortunately, we're going into sessioning too, so I'll try and keep quantum. So let's put in what you really want. Flying. I can, I will, and I am in charge of myself.
I will and I am in charge of myself.
I'm flying. Do your back with your other hand. Okay. Is Terri flying and in charge of herself? Right now, Terri, how are you feeling right this moment? Right this moment. With what we just did. Tune in. How are you feeling right now?
Good.
Take a deep breath. Good? Okay. Okay. So let's talk about, so now if in the moment we're reacting and you just saw, oh, I feel like I'm falling off a cliff, I'm angry, oh, and I can talk about it. Why not? Is that all right? Oh, and we have a yo-yo right here. Did you see it? Is that on camera? The partner yawned. Wow! class? What is that
Shifting.
group, I should say?
Shifting.
Yeah, but what's the word, the quantum word for what happened?
Orgasm.
Yeah, orgasm. What's the scientific E word for?
Entanglement.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Your favorite word.
Okay.
Dean, in entanglement with his beloved, he got it and he yawned. He had a yawn orgasm. So there we are. That's an example in a relationship. She owns what she's feeling. She shifts it. He shifted. Now he doesn't have to, or anyone doesn't have to push Terri off a cliff anymore because she is in charge of herself. She's flying. No matter what Dean says in a conversation, she'll be in charge of herself. Even if she slips a little, whoop, she can fly and get back on her feet.
Mhm.
And what was your new quantum shift?
I can fly,
And I'm in charge of myself.
and I'm in charge of myself.
So she's going to write that on her list, put a double star, and she's going to repeat that every night. So see how our conversation, thanks to Mike's comment, which became a question for most of us, and it became very creative, and Terri is no longer going to converse or very afraid because she's now knows entering a conversation. She's in charge of herself and she can fly. If she does lose her footing, she can gain charge of herself. Okay, so there's an example of any questions on quantum communication.
Yeah, I do have a question. It was like relating it to like what Mike was saying. So there's a statement made, and then there's a response to the statement in the form of a question. That's what
There's a response and a question.
a response and a question.
Yes, you do get to respond, and then you come back with another question that relates to your response.
Okay.
But what if, or how so, or blah, blah, blah. Our cameraman is doing a whole lot of yo-yos, which means yawn orgasm. He's getting shifting over there. So everybody benefits.
Okay.
What you
So
said, what Terri
Well, I'm
said.
still trying to understand what Mike said.
Okay.
Like, and
Yeah, I'm not done with what Mike said. I mean, I would go into conversation, but he would refused to ask a question of me.
right, and that's where like
Didn't come in a question form.
I'm sorry, Mike, there are always questions you can ask about your statement. You could just say, what do you think of that? Or how do you feel about that?
Well, actually, my question would become, is can you be okay with falling?
Yes, Thank you.
You're just okay with it. I mean,
Exactly.
yes.
You realize that you're in a dream and it's not gonna kill you and you're okay with it.
So, okay, I would say absolutely, I would be okay with losing it. And I'm wondering if maybe you feel pressure to be perfect. Now, make a statement about that perfect question about yourself and then ask another question. Just, come on, just
Do I feel pressure
converse.
to be perfect?
That was my question.
No.
Is there any pressure within you to be perfect? Because
No.
your state, okay, when
Well,
you
then,
made,
wait, doesn't he have to give a statement
Yes,
now?
give-
So now give a
no, I
question.
don't.
So no, I don't
And
feel,
ask another
No, I don't
question.
feel pressured.
But I
be
need a
perfect.
question about that. Why do you, anything?
why do you think?
Why do you think that? Why do you ask? Anything, just this is conversation, dear.
Right.
So no, I don't, and I'm wondering,
I'm wondering why my mind is not able to produce a question at this moment.
whoa, I think that's an amazing question. Why don't you, so if you're unable to produce questions, are you thinking that everything is somehow set a certain way?
No, not at all.
No, wait, come on, keep going now. No, I don't think everything's set. Come on, converse.
I'm gonna need to answer or some form of a.
Okay, so can we in this moment ask, is there an issue for Mike? Is it an issue for him not to be able to question? I'm getting a yes. This is an issue for you. This is something worth looking into. Would you be willing to try just doing a bath wave about that? We don't have to know the why. We just want to shift it. Are you willing to embrace? I face and embrace that I'm having difficulty coming up with questions in conversation. And I don't want that to be true anymore. I want to be able to question the other person and hear their responses. Everybody can do this, by the way. Are you willing to do that and see if it helps you?
Because that's not how I feel. You know, that's not what I'm feeling.
You just said you don't know why you can't come up with questions. Would you like to?
No, and then you
see
responded, but I don't necessarily. You know, it doesn't manifest in the form of a question that that I have to approach you with to question what you're saying. I accept what you're saying.
Okay, so I am now going to do a relationship. Is that okay with you?
I suppose, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to talk to Mike in this, because he doesn't have an issue with it. I have an issue with it. I'm feeling a little reaction to his unwilling, and I want to know why. It's a question. Why doesn't he want to ask me questions? I feel like he doesn't want to, maybe he doesn't want to hear my responses. So I'm going to talk to Mike. Mike, do you not want to hear my responses? Are you not interested in what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking? Okay, so is my masculine side uninterested, unable to question and listen to my feminine side? This is me. So anyone else who relates to this? I face and embrace that my... Okay, can you help me, Madeline, please?
Yeah.
Help me with this, because I'm in it. So you be my coach. I face and embrace. What am I facing and embracing?
That my feminine side feels like my masculine side does not want to communicate or is closing off communication.
Okay. My masculine side is not wanting to communicate. He's closing off communication. He doesn't want to listen to my feminine side. And my feminine side feels that she's not heard. Bingo. Does that sound familiar? This is familiar.
Yeah.
Because we are...
We're all yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Be on this one. So what happened, Mark? Did we run out of battery? No? Are you still recording? Okay. So here we go. I'm sorry. I thought we stopped recording. Okay, so I'm feeling a little better. Is anyone feeling a little better? I'm embracing the emotional reaction, whether it's anger or sadness, that we're feeling when our masculine side doesn't ask us questions, doesn't care, or we don't feel that they want to hear what we're feeling and thinking. Okay? Okay, thank you. So we did part one. We need a part two now. We need a quantum replacement. So we can, a couple here. My feminine self feels heard. Does my feminine self feel heard? No. We could just use that first. And then we can go to our masculine side, hears and questions us and is interested in our feminine side. We need both.
I know what I mean.
Okay, we have three going on. Let's do them all. My feminine side can, will, and is heard. Let's do them one at a time because they're all important.
Okay.
My feminine side can, will, and is heard by herself,
By herself.
by her masculine side.
By her masculine side.
My feminine side is heard by her masculine side. Oh, that feels good. Number two, let's do the masculine side of it. My own masculine side can, will, and is interested and listening to my feminine side.
To my feminine side.
Okay, write that down, somebody. My masculine side can, will, and is interested and listening to my feminine side. Now yours, please. We have a third one.
It said my masculine side is open and communicative.
Okay, so my masculine side can, will, and is open and communicative. That's very important, the openness. Open. Oh, so we have a bobo going on over here. Do you mind if we talk about it? Good. Keep it going. Some people will burp, which means that the GI tract, the stomach, and the digestive system is changing, transforming. The information is transforming. She is understanding something, and it expresses itself as a burp. Many people do this in the work. This transformation. They yawn, they cough, they burp. We call them yo-yos, bobos, cocos. They sneeze, so-sos, and all other such kinds of telling you which organ has changed. An orgasm. Yeah. Okay, how do we feel?
That's good. How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel much better now. I can talk to Mike again. Whereas before I was like, ugh, you know, I didn't quite feel like he was interested, or, okay.
I'm interested, otherwise I wouldn't be here.
Okay, so then I'm going to begin now in a response to Mike. How are we doing on our energy here and our time here? Are we okay? How is our time going? Do we know? Couple more minutes. Okay. So Mike, I was aware that when you said that, I remembered that when I was trying to find some belief patterns, the bottom line belief patterns for the feminine and the masculine, the one that came up for the masculine that really makes men kind of feel limited sometimes is this feeling or sense of duty or obligation. And so I'm going to ask, especially the men, but even the masculine side of the women in the group, would you be willing or interested in not feeling like you have a duty or an obligation or a commandment that you have to do as a man or as your masculinity? Oh,
I just
we got a yawn.
burped and yawned and
Well, that comes right back to what I said about an obligation.
Shifting.
yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
That's what brought it up in me.
Right.
That's why when you said it, I said, bingo, the masculine bottom line belief pattern that can feel a bit, we got another man in the group, the cameraman yo-yoing over there. So it means that this is bringing up an issue for people.
But I think it's a reality.
There's no,
There is in fact
in
an
the
obligation
quantum-
to excel, you know.
the quantum reality is you can do it any way you want. You are not obliged to excel. That's your self-expectation, which is great. But to feel that you're obliged for it, I think that's what we're talking about, maybe shifting here. You can excel, but the obligation, it's everybody can choose what they wish. You don't have to be obliged.
I'd like to challenge that by saying there's a definite collective energy. Women are collectively not speaking up. There's thousands of years that document that. They've been suppressed forever, so they collectively don't voice. Men have collectively told men, you compete, you rock,
Right.
you achieve, you succeed. So it's true. So I was going to ask you earlier, we're doing individual stuff, but where's the collective involved?
Well, that's what we're talking
Okay.
about
That
now.
entanglement, right?
Well, it goes back to the soccer, or the
Hockey.
the hockey and team building. And you know, I'm a coach, and I have a family. I built a team and a family, and I've built many teams. At work. I'm a team builder for economic, you know, not for me necessarily, but for my boss.
Okay. So what is team? What part does team play in the quantum reality? Is there a team? And what is your basic team? And this team we're talking about with people, in groups. It's a question. I don't think at this point in this group we're going to come up with a final answer. But Maddie said something, and she's yawning over here like crazy. She mentioned, well, it's entanglement, isn't it? Entanglement. And that's all I can say as a quantum coach, that entanglement is always present, no matter what you're doing. Family, economic group, sexual groups, races, cultures. There's entanglement going on. And so we do know these things, and maybe we haven't spoken up as a group. And that's something we could shift.
Well, and maybe it's also just like recognizing that we have all this conditioning, right, that is maybe way outside of us, like thousands and thousands of years of this role that men have been given, but the ability and our opportunity to not have to live with that as like the reality, and like, okay, that's a big part of like everyone else's, but like, is there a way that I can walk this world in myself and not attach to that, and like not have to live that reality, even though everyone else still is, even though everyone else is going to expect that of me, everyone else is going to want me to fill that role, but quantumly can I engage differently with that role and like see through my own glasses, you know?
That's what the BATHWAVEs are about, right? I mean,
Right, that's how you
To
dismantle
embrace it. Yeah, exactly.
Embrace what is.
To stop denying
That's the
it,
obligation.
Sure.
right?
Right,
That's
it
right.
exists, it's real, it's real.
You embrace it,
Actually
but then
break
you
that
choose
down.
what you want to fill it in with instead. Like
Yeah.
that's where the conscious choice comes in, and like what you can replace with whatever you want, because there's, you know, like we're limitless.
We're not locked in to that.
Limitless. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so why don't we do that? Why don't we just, yes! Well, you know, at times we can feel locked in. Mike maybe doesn't feel locked in by it, but when he said it, I thought, ooh, obligation, and I felt the locking. So let's embrace our own locking, that we want to be aware of when we feel locked in, and we want to, that was a burp, we want to feel free to do what you just said. So, okay, would you lead us, Mary? Go on. I face and embrace.
Embrace that I've taken in a lot of my surroundings, cultural conditioning,
conditioning,
Habits and others.
others, and blah, blah, blah.
all that.
Embrace it all.
Blah, blah.
Embrace it all, and it's all present.
And I don't want to necessarily feel locked in to any of it.
Any of it.
I want to feel
anymore.
free.
I want to feel free.
To be emergent, to have
Be
surprises.
emergent and have surprises.
Because the surprises are greater than we imagine when we do that.
Surprises
So-
are greater than we imagine.
So I can, I will, and I am.
I will and I am.
Open
Open
and ready
and ready.
to have surprises and emergent me's
And
that are
emergent me's that
greater
are free
than I even imagine.
Yeah. better than
Free.
I could even imagine.
Free to
Free
be
to
me.
be.
Let's do it again. Say that again. I can, I will.
I will, and I am. Free to be.
Free to be. Whatever I choose to be.
Whatever I choose to be.
Wow, I don't know about anyone else, but my chi is like so strong right now. Can you feel it? There's like a real pulsation going on in my feet, to really move forward. Thank you. Thank you. How does everyone feel about that? Thank you, Mike, for starting the conversation.
Yes, even without wanting to.
There's a whole other deal, it's about
Okay, but
our
I think-
perception of reality.
Okay, let's go. Can you hold that thought?
And reality, and the difference between
Can
the
we,
two.
can we hold that thought? Let's begin the next section. I think this section is complete, and I think that's a good place. And in the quantum world, we're going to find out that what you perceive is what you get. So
That's correct.
there's no absolute reality out there, and that's why people have a hard time with it, because we want there somehow to be a crystallized reality out there. But we're beginning to see that it has more to do with what we perceive, like the story of if the tree falls in the forest and you are not there to hear it, does it fall?
Doesn't make a noise.
Does it make a noise? And the answer is, in the quantum world, Till next time, let's hold that thought. How can that be? Oh, thank you, everybody.
It's our perception that creates, that's how it can be.
Perceptions and our
Yeah.
actions,
It's the
yeah?
mind that wants to give me everything.
Yeah, it does give us everything, if we just honor that. Okey-doke.